The other day, I was in a little bit of a funk. I was trying to get going. I was trying to get the day started, and it just seemed like it was kind of hard to get things going into motion, right? It seemed like my, tires were just kind of slipping, you could say. And so I kind of just popped onto YouTube, and I saw all these motivational videos popping up. And I've actually watched some of these in the past, and I kind of noticed a little bit of a momentary increase in motivation. But then right before I clicked on the video, I had a second thought, and it was, do these videos actually do anything for you long term? Like, they get a lot of views, so a lot of people must be watching it and getting something out of them. But it's like, if there was no drawbacks to these videos, why wouldn't everybody not be watching these like almost 24/7, right? Or like, why wouldn't it be implemented into so many people's morning routines? For example, with their coffee, they'll watch like 3 videos or some shit like that. And so my gut reaction was to just look it up on YouTube. Like, do motivational videos actually work? And well, as you could see, all that came up was just more motivational videos. So then boom, a quick Google search, and I find this article by this guy. And this guy's a research associate from the Center of Bangladesh and Global Affairs. So we can assume that he's done his research on this shit. And yeah, literally the second paragraph, it says, these brief, often superficial pieces of content are designed to offer quick emotional gratification and encourage immediate action. And just reading this alone, it kind of makes me recall a memory I had. One time I went to the gym with one of my work friends, and I noticed he was listening to music. So I asked him, hey, what are you listening to? And it turns out he's not listening to music. He's listening to a multiple hour long podcast, like motivational influencers literally just yelling at him. You'll never be nobody. You'll get, you know what I'm saying. And then we get into the next paragraph where it says, while these social media motivational tools can create temporary sense of empowerment, they fail to offer the deep, sustained drive that real motivation requires. So now thinking about my friend that was working out while listening to this stuff, there's a good chance he was actually getting some sort of cognitive benefit from doing this. But obviously the long term, it's saying that it's not exactly ideal. And it kind of says that in the next point where it says, yet a closer look at the psychological, philosophical, and neurobiological implications of this phenomenon reveals a darker side. This type of motivation may be impeding the very progress it claims to promote. So it's kind of something that we were speculating earlier. So the first thing we're going to do is look at what it does psychologically and why people are gravitating towards this type of content. And then we're going to look at what it is impeding. Okay, so this one is actually really interesting. It says the psychoanalysis and the risk of narcissistic validation. So in this paragraph, they're referring to a prominent psychoanalyst named Donald Winnicott, whom introduced the concept of the false self. Basically, it's a persona adopted to gain approval from others to avoid the feelings of inadequacy. And now this made me recall a memory of a friend I have that is always posting gym selfies, photos of his car, photos of money with like motivational quotes and all that stuff, right? Flexing that he wakes up at 4 a.m. or has cold showers or is incredibly disciplined, stuff like that. And now that I'm thinking about it, it's almost like he's just regurgitating the information that he got from these other motivational videos. And then he gets the validation of the likes, the shares, the comments, whatever it is. And he starts basing how he feels off of the responses to his posts. And therefore, he is becoming externally regulated / motivated. And now the conclusion that we're coming to is that external motivation is not the right type of motivation that's long-lasting, at least. And I'm going to get into the long-lasting motivation / discipline in a moment here, but we're just going to take a look at another psychological factor. And that is the myth of effortless change, which fuels the logic behind social media's motivational content. So instead of promoting the long, arduous process of self-improvement, platforms encourage users to believe that motivation can be delivered in a single moment, or like a neatly packaged video or an image, because it's way easier than doing the hard work and having the patience that true motivation requires. And so when you're constantly watching this content, you're almost soaking in the information as if it was something that you have done yourself, which goes back to the whole false self persona thing that we've already talked about. Because real motivation and confidence mainly comes from the fact that you've gone through maybe some really hard experiences, some really tough life decisions you've had to make, things of that nature. And so when times are tough, you kind of know what you should be doing, even though you feel horrible. And so I'm going to read the conclusion that he said because he worded it really good. While these quick hits of inspiration can be enjoyable in the moment, they fail to offer the sustained, deep motivation that comes from hard work, struggle, and the gradual cultivation of one's inner self. And so our conclusion to this video, and next time you're feeling like shit or low motivation or your tires are spinning like mine were, try to push through it and then do it again and again and again. Because every time that you do push through it, you're building up your resistance to pain. And you're also that way building your own inner motivation. Because a lot of the time, real success, whatever you see that as, isn't just built on good times. It's built through fucking pain. It's built through you breaking down or being sleep deprived and feeling like shit. Like a good quote from 50 Cent is that joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for pain, which is pretty damn true. But yeah. Fuck, this is starting to become kind of motivational.